Hello students, today we are going to study chapter number 5, the cell, that is the fundamental unit of life. So already you have studied the chapter cell in class 8th. Now today in this matter we are going to study these different topics. So what are the topics that we are going to discuss today? What is cell? What is cell theory? And an overview and general outline of the cell. Okay, so already you have studied in class 8th that what is cell. Cell is the structural fundamental unit of life. Okay, so you have already studied that cell is the fundamental structural and functional unit of life. As you can see here, it is written here, cell is the fundamental structural and functional unit of all the living organisms, all life. Okay, and you have already studied that it is the smallest unit capable of independent existence, means it can survive on its own. It does not need the help of any other thing. Like for example, take the example of amoeba. Amoeba is a single cell organism which can survive on its own because all the components for its survival is present inside it. So it is the smallest unit capable of independent existence and performing the essential functions of the life. Whatever the functions of the life like respiration, digestion, excretion, they are all performed by a single cell. Okay, so this is about the cell. Now let us discuss about the important discoveries which is given in your NCERT textbook regarding this chapter. Okay, now you can make this table in your notebooks also. So you can see here in the year 1665 Robert Hooke discovered the cells. He was the first person to discover the cells from the cork. Okay, and he discovered the dead cells. Already you have learned this in class 8th. Now in 1674 Leeuwenhoek discovered the free living cells from the pond water for the first time. Okay, so this is the second discovery. Now in the 1831, see, after so many years of the gap, you can see in 1831 from 1665 when one's first cell was discovered until 1831 they could not discover anything. So in 1831 they discovered the nucleus. Now you have already seen that nucleus is present in the center of the cell. So 1831 Robert Brown discovered the nucleus, and then 1838 Schleiden found that all the plant cells, he was a botanist, he studied plants. Schleiden studied plants and he found that all the plant cells have similar structure and they have cell wall and they have jelly like substance that we call as cytoplasm, and all the cells have nucleus. So he studied many cells and he found the similarities between all these plant cells. And then in the year 1839 Purkinje is also a scientist who coined the term protoplasm. Now what is protoplasm? If you see inside the cell consists of three components which you have already studied, that is the cell membrane, the cytoplasm and the nucleus. So if you take cytoplasm and nucleus together, then we call it as protoplasm. Proto means living, plasma means fluid. So protoplasm means the living substance of the cell. So it was discovered and it was coined by the Purkinje. And in the same year 1839 Schleiden and Schwann. Now Schwann was a zoologist. He studied animals, he studied the animal cells, and he also found the same similarity with the Schleiden. Schleiden found that all the cells have got cell wall and they have got cytoplasm and nucleus, and he studied all these plant cells and he found in the plant cells. The same thing is done by the Schwann, and he found the same things in the animal cells. So Schwann studied the animal cells and he found that all the animal cells have cell membrane, cytoplasm and the nucleus. So they together gave the cell theory. So cell theory was given by Schleiden and Schwann in the year 1839. And then later on the cell theory was modified by Virchow in 1855, and he said omnis cellula e cellula. Now what does this mean? It means that new cells arise from pre-existing cells. So you can see here, he said that omnis cellula e cellula means new cells arise from pre-existing cells. So these are the different scientists who has given contribution toward the cell biology. Okay, now we move to the cell theory. Now, as already I have told you that cell theory was given by Schleiden and Schwann, and then it was later on modified by Rudolf Virchow, and he said that new cells arise from pre-existing cells. Okay, so the cell theory was modified by the Virchow. Now, what are the different important points of the cell theory is that the first point is that all living organisms are made up of cells. Now, if you see Schleiden, who was a botanist who studied plants, and he found that all plants have got cells, and Schwann was a zoologist and he found that all the animals have got the cells. So they concluded that all the living organisms are made up of cells. That is, the cell is the basic unit of life. Okay, now let us talk about the second point. Now, second point is given by the Virchow, that all cells arise from pre-existing cells, that already we have discussed. And the third point is that also we have discussed, that each cell is made up of mass of protoplasm, means it contains protoplasm. All the cells contain protoplasm, means they contain cytoplasm and nucleus together. Okay, and they all contain cell membrane. Now, cell wall may be present or may not be present, because cell wall is only present in the plant cells, bacteria and fungi, but other cells like animal cells does not have the cell wall. So these are the important points of the cell theory. Now let us move to the next part of the of this chapter. Now let us discuss about, already I think that you have already studied about unicellular and multicellular organisms in 8th class, but let us discuss it again. Now, unicellular organisms are those organisms which are made up of one cell. Uni means one. Okay, so unicellular means they are made up of one cell. Example is, there a lot of examples are there, like bacteria is there, paramecium is there, chlamydomonas is there, and apart from there are many other examples, like you have studied about cyanobacteria, that is also a unicellular organism. Now let us talk about multicellular. Now, multi means many. So those organisms which have many cells, or their body is made up of many cells, are called as multicellular organism. Example, we also included in that plants, animals, fungi, they are all included in multicellular organism. Now let us discuss about a very important point which I have already underlined here. As you can see, the shape and size of the cells are related to the specific function they perform. Now what does this mean? Now let us look at figure 5.3 of your NCERT textbook. Now as you can see here, you can see a muscle cell having a elongated shape. You can see the blood cells having a circular shape, spherical in shape. As you see nerve cell, it is branched. You can see a lot of branches coming out of the nerve cell. You can see a ovum, it is again spherical. You can see a bone cell which is also of different shape, sperm and the fat cell. You can see here 7-8 types of cells, and all have different shapes. So why they have different shapes? That is the answer given here. The shape and size of the cells are related to the specific function they perform. So the shape and size of the cells are related to the function they perform. So whatever functions they perform in our body, their size is according to that, and their shape is also according to that. Okay, so the size and shape is depending upon their functions. Okay, now let us move to the next part of this chapter. Is that, now as you can see here, each living cell has the capacity to perform certain basic functions. As already I have told you that all the living cells have the capacity to do work, like they can do respiration, they can do transportation, they can do digestion, excretion, nutrition. All these important functions can be performed by a living cell. Now the question is, as you can see here, the question is, how does a living cell perform these basic functions? Now, how does a living cell is able to do all these functions? Now, if we compare our cell with our body, now if we talk about our body, how do we breathe? We have got lungs for breathing. How do we digest the food? We have got stomach for digestion. How do we remove the waste substances? We have got kidneys for doing that. How we transport the substances? We have got blood and blood vessels. We have got heart to do all these functions. So like that, we have got different organs which are doing different functions in our body. Like that, the cell also contain organ like structures which are performing a certain task. Okay, now what is this organ like structures? These organ like structures are called as organelles. So as you can see here, a cell is able to live and perform all its functions because of these organelles. Okay, so these organelles are organ like and they perform the basic functions of the cell, like the organs which perform the basic functions of our body. So these organelles together constitute the basic unit called the cell. Okay, and what are these organelles? Organelles are the membrane bound or covered. They are covered by a membrane. So the cell organelles are the membrane bound structures which are present in the cytoplasm of the cell. As you can see here, inside the cell, there are various organelles are there. Like for example, mitochondria, nucleus, lysosomes, chloroplast. All these structures are covered by membrane and they are doing specific functions. So these structures which are doing specific functions are called as organelles. So membrane bound structures present in the cytoplasm which perform a specific function are called as organelles. So this is the class for today. Tomorrow we'll continue with the same chapter. I hope that you are making the notes properly. So keep on making the notes properly. Take a notebook for bio or a register for bio and start making the notes. When the school will reopen, then I will start checking the copies.